Hey guys, how's it going? This is Mike from M&R Automotive. Today we have a new 2024 Toyota Tacoma and we're installing two light bars in the factory bumper. First thing we're going to do is pop the hood. Let's see what we're working with. So these pins are a little bit different. We're just going to press into it. It pops off and we just pry it from underneath. To summarize, the only ones we're taking off are the ones that are holding the grill. So you have the edges. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6. There's 2 here. Just press on them and pry them. So that's 6 clips. Now there's 2 10mm bolts that we're going to remove. That's one, and the second one's here. So that should free up everything on top of the grill. So this is the electronics. I'm going to go ahead and go under and then pull it out. There's another bolt that we have to remove from the grill part. So we're going to have to take this whole intake off. So there's 2 more pins. 1, 2. So now with those removed, we can just take this out. This is the bolt that I was looking for. So now this is the third 10mm bolt that's holding the front. Now this is the wiring harness that I was trying to remove. So we're gonna go ahead and see these colors. I just want to make sure that when we connect everything back up, that it goes the same way. They're different harnesses, so you're not gonna get it wrong. They're different, so they can only plug in one way. So this is done. Now there's a small one in here as well. Just squeeze it and press it out. Yeah, there's a third one in here. Not every car is gonna have 3. So here we do have 3 harnesses, and I'm gonna disconnect all 3 of them. Now we can see that the whole front of the grill is loose. Now let's go into the fender well. So now we're gonna go ahead and take out these 2 10mm and pop these 2 pins out. So this is the first one. 2. Okay, so you just turn it horizontal, and then it should come out. So with this one, if it's horizontal, it's unlocked, and then we can just peel the carpet out. So now we have to remove the fenders, and if you tug on it, it just pops open. It just clips. So when you pop open the fender trim, there's 1 Phillips screw that you have to remove. I'm gonna take out this 1 Phillips screw, and that should loosen the whole side. Now we're gonna do the same thing on the passenger side. Just like the driver, take out the 2 10mm bolts. In terms of the clips and then those pins, put a screwdriver in here and just make it vertical, horizontal I mean. 2. So now I'm going to take off this fender flare. I'm just going to kind of tug on it and it's going to unclip. See, 1, 2, 3. This is the bolt that I'm trying to get, and the whole front end should remove. So now that we got both of the sides, let's go ahead and try to unbutton the bottom. I think there's a couple of more screws there. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and take out all the 10mm from underneath. So on the sides we have 2. Those are the black bolts, and it loosens the carpet. There's 1 that's hiding here on the side. Okay, so we have 3 on the side. We have 2 in the middle. That's 2. And then we have 2 here, and 1 is hidden underneath. 3. So there's a total of 8 bolts from underneath. And now, if we tug on it, everything should be fairly loose. Now that we have the top, bottom, and the sides unclipped and unbolted, we can pry on the side to try to take off the front end. Yeah, there you go. So there's just clips here. So when you pull on this side, let's do the same thing on the passenger. So I'm grabbing on the side and I'm pushing it towards me to unclip this cover edge. Okay, so once we got it all unclipped, let's try to take it off. So these are the bolts that we're removing. 1, 2, 3, all the silver ones. And there's 1, 2, 3 on the other side. I'll just lift up. Okay, so now that we have everything laid out and we've taken off the active shutter system, the bolts that we're going to be using is the one that holds the center module and then this little one here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take them out. I'm going to feed the M&R brackets through it, and then I'm going to reinsert the same hardware. Then we're going to do the smaller one here on the side. Slide the M&R bracket. I'm going to reuse the same bolt, and I'm just going to finger tighten it. I'm going to set the light bar in the middle, and then the last thing I'm going to do is tighten those bolts. So I do want them loose so I can maneuver the light bar. So the next step is to actually install the light bar in between the mount. I'm going to use the supplied hardware, which is a bolt and washer. I usually use this line in order to center it. I'm going to align it. Now I'm going to go ahead and tighten it. So this is done on one side. Okay, that's good. So now that we have the light bar in between the M&R brackets, I'm going to go ahead and tighten the hardware. When installing the light bars, make sure to put the wire side towards the middle of the grille. This is where we're going to fuse them together, and then we're going to run them up to the auxiliary switches. I'm going to take this bolt out. I'm going to slide the M&R hardware. Tighten here. After the light bars are installed, I'm going to go ahead and fuse all the wiring together. We are going to fuse them here and run the wiring on the driver's side because this is where the auxiliary switch is on the 24 Tacoma is. Let me take off these ends. I'm going to take 2 red wires together. Red is the power of the white light. I'm going to take 2 blues together, which is the Amber DRL. The blue wire is only if you choose to purchase the Amber DRL function. If you just purchased a single color light bar, you're just going to get the red and black, which is a ground and a power. And now I'm going to use a supplied harness in order to extend this wiring. So I'm going to go red to red. So red to red. I'm going to do black to black. And then I'm going to do blue to blue. So now I'm going to use a couple of zip ties because we're going to put the active shutters. You don't want this wiring anywhere around the active shutter system, or else it might throw a check engine light because they won't be able to open and close. I'm going to go ahead and use zip ties to attach the M&R harness to the factory harness so it's nicely tucked away. And then what I'll do here is actually use the M&R bracket to keep it nice and tight so it doesn't come loose. I'm going to try to make it nice and tight to the light bar right behind it so that way it doesn't interfere with the active shutter system. I can actually also use the factory clips to hold my harness in place as well. Now we're ready to reinstall the active shutter system, and you can look at the wiring to make sure that it doesn't interfere. It has plenty of space in between the wiring and the actual active shutters, so it's not going to have any issues when we're using the light bar. So now we're going to go ahead and reuse the factory hardware that we originally taken out to put the active shutter system back on. Okay, excellent. So now what I can do, I can actually connect the harness for the active shutter that we disconnected earlier. This one actually belongs here. All right, and then this is the one for the other 2 harnesses on the Tacoma. Yeah, the wire's gonna stay on this side because we're gonna connect it to the auxiliaries here. So check this out. So here's the 2 light bars that we installed. I think it looks amazing. Very sleek, kind of continues the factory lines. Okay, so now that we have everything installed, let's talk about wiring. If your Tacoma comes with auxiliary switches, you will need one of these pigtails to connect to auxiliary switch connection in the engine bay and provide you with 3 lead wires. In your user manual, there is a diagram that shows the black wire of being auxiliary switch number 1 for 15 amps. The green wire is the switch number 2 for 10 amps. And the white wire is switch number 3 for 5 amps. The thick white wire with a black stripe, that's going to be the ground. So I'm going to go ahead and connect the pigtails to the harness first, and you can find it next to the windshield washer fluid. It's a plug that you clip in. So now it's clipped in, and now we have 3 auxiliary wires and 1 ground. I'm going to take the end caps off. So now after I've taken off the sheathing, I'm going to go ahead and strip these ends, and we're going to use crimp connectors to attach the wiring. I'm also going to go ahead and remove this socket because we're not going to be using it, and I'm going to strip it, and that's going to be switch number 1, which is 15 amps. So I'm going to go ahead and put crimp connectors. I'm going to leave the green wire alone because it's switch number 2 and we're not going to use it at the moment. So right now we're going to put the red wire, that's going to be the white function of the lights, which is going to be switch number 1, and that's going to be the black. So I'm going to go red to black. For the ground, it's actually this wire, which is the white wire with a black stripe. So let me put a crimp connector on here, and we're going to connect that to the black wire, and that's going to be our ground. And then the last one, which is the blue wire, that's the Amber DRL. We're going to go ahead and connect it to the white wire, or the white thin wire, which is switch number 3. Okay, so now we can go ahead and get tested. Switch number 1 is going to turn on the powerful white light, and switch number 3 is going to be the Amber DRL. Wow, these look really good. I'm really impressed with this kit. I know you guys are going to love it, and I can't wait to take this out for some off-roading. Thank you guys for watching. I know you're going to love the product.